Hello, my name is Voya and welcome to my deep guide and another edition of Q&A. I've collected some more questions from you guys, so let's roll on and see what you are wondering about. I'm absolutely baffled with Boox. Their products are top-notch hardware-wise, but the software, especially on the Notes app, which is what I use the most, drives me nuts. They need to hire someone that really knows how to fix its issues and ASAP. I have Boox Air 2 and have locked the firmware upgrades because I don't want to risk one I can't actually use to upgrade, and if I could downgrade the firmware to the last 3 updates. Yeah, I agree and I hear you, and I think that especially with the coming out of the Boox OS 4.1 update, a lot of users are feeling the same thing. But you know, adapters of the Boox Note Air 5C and the Boox Palma 2 Pro, for example, they never had a choice because these devices by default come with this OS 4.1, which basically just made things so much worse. Granted, yes, it does have a couple of steps forward, like the presets for notebook toolbars, presets for the front light for front lit devices, has very decent new ink pens, but the cost for these small upgrades and conveniences are so many steps back that it just makes it simply not worth it. So unfortunately, I've mistakenly updated my Go 10.3 to 4.1, and I regret it since as well. So much so that I wrote the support ticket and I wrote the contact in Boox to actually ask for them to offer an option to roll back to a previous update version for the users who simply reject what has been offered and what has been done with the OS 4.1. My Note Max, I've turned off the updates, and even though it has bugs that I hoped that they would fix, that hope is now completely gone, because I can either choose, you know, them fixing some of the bugs that the platform has at the cost of losing so much with updating to 4.1 of any version, which is completely absurd. So effectively, only after 1 year, my Note Max has now become a hostage locked down in a dated platform. Hardware, and I still love that device and I'm still going to continue using it because it does the job for me, thankfully, really well, and I can live with the limitations and the bugs. I found a work around them. But that's not something that's recommendable as a user experience, is it? Boox OS 4.1 has a ridiculous PDF exporting bug they promised to fix in 4.1.1. When exporting to Nextcloud, it keeps all of the editing history inside the PDF visible. Erased items and moved items are all duplicated and overlapping. Seriously, has anyone tested anything of release 4.1 before they download it to users all over the world? This is absolutely unacceptable. I mean, Boox has done many cock-ups before, but this, you know, the fall of 2025 marks absolutely the lowest point of Boox that I have experienced so far. This is their new low that they've established as a company, because both with the cock-ups with the hardware release for the Note Air 5C and the abomination of the OS 4.1. Is there a way to work around to configure the long press for volume down? Not saying it's a bad design, but at least something to get going. Of course, they could always implement this as their software fix. It is a bad design. I am saying flat out, it's a bad design. And no, you cannot disable the functionality of the volume buttons on the Note Air 5C to avoid that problem. And you cannot assign a long press function. So right now you don't have that ability. Knowing Boox, I think that rather than owning up to the mistake, because they've already shown that they have decided that they will not own up that this here is a cock-up, and instead they're gonna keep gaslighting people and tell this is how you're supposed to do it. And my estimation is that they are rather gonna roll out the ability to disable the volume button functionality completely, and offer that as a kind of workaround for users who may want to, do that, never actually addressing the root cause of the issue. And yes, that would fix the problem for Note Air 5C users, but if it happens that way, that will be a further negative reflection how Boox actually chooses to deal with mistakes and responsibilities. Is the terrible device you mentioned at the end of the WeWoods AIPaper Mini or a different device? Thank you. Yes, it is AIPaper Mini, and it is a terrible device for a few very specific reasons. The build quality is not really that great. While it's pretty, you do get some creakiness and crackiness, although it's better than the bigger AIPaper. However, the biggest problems with the AIPaper Mini for me are the following. Above and beyond is the front light. Single color front light, which is really ugly, extremely non-uniform, and the calibration of the intensity is not good enough. That makes it a bad device. The writing feel on this device is not that good. It has really big surface to screen distance. The precision of writing is not that good. The writing latency is not that good. And the writing feel is not that good. And lastly, it overheats like mad when you just use anything on that device. It just kept overheating and actually throttling down in some situations of just using it as a note taker, which again makes it a bad device. I just went to the shop and tried out the AI Note 2 today. I am using the 8-inch AI Note Air 2 already and I love it, but it's bigger and thinner, brother, looks so tempting. You should definitely review it when you can. I am in the process of it, and I do agree it's an absolutely fantastic device. And I think that by the time that this Q&A is coming out, I've already covered the first look and the review of the AI Note 2, so I think I'm not kind of ruining anything here, but I wholeheartedly agree it's an absolutely epic device, and if you're already in the ecosystem, it's an absolute no-brainer to actually have it, because that already means that you're okay with their entry barrier, which is the use of the iFlyTech user account, which unlocks all the functionalities. But the problem, the really big problem, and I think the big hindrance of the AI Note 2 are the concerns regarding privacy and security, and with that barrier entry fee to unlock all of the powerful functionalities that that platform actually has. It will simply not be acceptable to quite a few people, and myself included. I am really still ambivalent about this device, especially when compared to the prospect and the benefits and the wonderfulness of having a Supernote private cloud hosted on my own private server here in my own home. When you have these two and you try to compare them, the data entry barrier and the cost of privacy and security trade-off for what are genuinely absolutely fantastic functionalities on a fantastic device, which is the AI Note 2, might prove to be a little bit too high. I'm a building and fire inspector and used my Paper Pro for my inspections. I switched to the Move since it slips into my pocket when not in use. I have hundreds of reports and manuals on it and find I can't live without it. It serves me well as I'm not interested in extraneous apps. I thank you so much for sharing this real world use case scenario with me and with everyone here, because this is the exact type of feedback that I'm hoping to hear from people using these devices to see how they actually fare in the field for a fire inspector, for example, how it serves you in your use case scenario. So it's really good to hear, first of all, that the device is serving you well, and that even though it's like super niche and really focused, that it's able to deliver what you need. But second of all, to actually hear a first-hand real-world experience like this. So thank you. I work on an industrial factory as an engineer, and I really want the perfect device to use on site. Hopefully someday Boox can make a mini tab go too, but a little bit smaller. Well, yeah, it really depends what your needs are, because as we've heard, just the previous comment is that for some of the needs, these devices already exist, such as the remarkable Paper Pro Move. But if you're looking for something super portable and it has to be Boox, Well, you do have the Boox Palma 2 Pro now, which has usable, it's not great, but it's perfectly usable writing capabilities, and it has all of the power and the negatives of the Boox OS platform. So that may be something worth checking out if it makes sense for you. This is a little bit of a longer discussion, but I do want to read it because I think it's an important one. The comment goes, I do agree. Along with my RmPP Pro, the Move is a perfect addition, which I can carry with me all the time. I use it as my daily planner and note-taking. For reading and annotating PDFs, the larger format of the Paper Pro is my choice. And as Wes says, the Remarkable is not for everyone, but if you are especially looking for a device that can do less to work without distraction, it might be the right choice. It is for focusing on just one task at a time. And then the reply comes, I don't understand this whole distraction angle. You seriously couldn't focus on a device that could do something other than take notes? It's not always a matter of can't, but maybe of don't want. As I said, the Remarkable is not the right thing for everyone. If a device with the more features works better for you, then use it, which is a nice and diplomatic answer for it. But I am going to go a little bit step forward here and say that the distraction angle is not a gimmick, but unfortunately it has been used by companies, Remarkable included, Remarkable is guilty of this, for basically commercializing the term and selling something that's not truly distraction-free and branding it as such, and hence creating a negative link and a negative connotation to something that's actually incredibly important and needed in today's society. It has nothing to do with what you want or can't or something like that. It has to do with you not having a choice when a design of the operating system is such that it stops your work with a pop-up, with a sound, or something that you don't have control over, and simply forces it in your face. That moment alone, that one moment alone of one distraction is going to cost you 20 minutes of your concentration. And that's a scientific fact. There's multiple studies behind it. If you were in a deeply focused state while working. And that's not a guess, that's actually like many studies are actually being done on this matter because it's a very important one. The state of deep focus that kind of opens up your logical reasoning and the way that your brain functions takes time. We do not have an on-off switch to just go like, oh, enter deep mode state or deep reasoning state. It doesn't work like that. It takes a long time for you to dive back in, and every single little ping, ding, notification and thing just almost instantly snaps you back out of it. And then you need to dive back again. Another notification, another notification, another notification. And while you may be telling yourself that, oh, it doesn't affect me, it does. On a physiological level, because your brain will work differently after it has been yanked out of a deep focus state. So that's what distraction-free actually should be about. And that's why it matters. I have pretty much the same sentiment as yourself. Totally unprecedented and totally amazing. This is regarding the Supernote private cloud. I've yet to set up the personal server because I don't have the hardware, but hoping to do so next year. However, I have tried the web dev link to my browser and my personal book library on my Nextcloud server, and this worked perfectly. What struck me most was how quietly Supernote released this update. No build-up, no one even knew that it was something they were working on, and no massive fanfare when it became available, but so powerful and massively respectful to their customer base. And I completely agree with that sentiment. I think that they should maybe have sold it a little bit more, because it's a massive thing. It's an absolutely massive transformative thing. And when you couple that with the modular functionality and repairability of the Nomad and Manta, which means that, yeah, as I discussed in one of the previous Q&As, if you are lacking, hardware encryption level of storage or Wi-Fi module connectivity, and if Supernote was to release a version of the SoC or the motherboard that actually covers WPA3 Wi-Fi connectivity and maybe hardware encryption of the storage, and issues that as a Pro motherboard, for example, well, then that would mean that you just buy that and exchange it yourself in your home, and you don't have to buy a new device or anything like that. You just upgrade it. And then couple that with the private server thing in your own home. Freaking unbelievable. Another one regarding the Supernote private cloud. This sounds absolutely amazing, and I'm so grateful that a company in the e-ink segment finally takes privacy seriously. Thanks. I don't know if I have the technical skills to set it all up, but I would actually pay for it to get this peace of mind. Is there a way to produce a how-to series? You could sell it in your store, Voya, for setting the hardware up, or is it too difficult to standardize it? I would use some of the hosting services. Greetings. Yeah, I don't think that that's something that I can take on because of the technical kind of pitfalls. It's really, really easy to mess things up and extremely difficult for the person that's kind of trying to guide you if you don't have a background in how Linux, headless Linux works. Then it would be a very, very time demanding and difficult thing to troubleshoot something like that and figure out where the mess up has happened. So that's the first aspect. And the second aspect is the security concerns, because naturally you're going to be enabling things that only you should know, and I can't know, nobody else is supposed to know. And users who are not used to that level of kind of tech savviness and seriousness of type of data that needs to be handled very, very privately and securely, then you can end up in a situation where you might even have a locked down kind of account or something like that, which may not be recoverable. And all of that combined just means that I'm not ready to take on that level of responsibility, nor do I have the time to allocate for something like that, because it would be a huge, huge time kind of thing. So my advice would be for you to find an IT expert, somebody who's already in the field, somebody who has the know-how, because for them this deployment is going to be a breeze, and it shouldn't take, for an experienced person, more than, okay, let me be generous, 4 hours, but in reality it's like 2 hours and you're done. But let's say even 4 hours, and then you are done and set up. So that's something that I would rather recommend people to go for, rather than somebody, random just offering, hey, I'm gonna do this for you, because it can be quite a bit involved. And if you're gonna have a server in your house, then you should know how to run that server and how to update it, how to service it. It's an involved and ongoing thing. And the absolute best course of action is just to kind of start baby steps and learn headless Linux type operation, because the long-term benefits are going to be huge, especially with the developments that we are having in today's day and age. All right, so those are all the questions that I've covered in this Q&A. Thank you so much for asking, and remember to ask more of them in the comments of this video, because that's the way that I collect them for the future and upcoming Q&As. If you haven't subscribed, please do so, because it helps the channel, and there's still quite a lot of viewers who are not subscribed. And if you do appreciate the work that I do, it genuinely does help the channel and me quite a lot, so I can continue to bring you good, independent and objective content to the best of my abilities. Thank you so much for watching. Stay safe, stay healthy, and see you in the next video. Bye!